Hello, hello, hello. Once again with the midday catch up. All right, give me a second getting the camera together for the TikTok portion. So there we go. All right, all right. Ugh. So much, so much, so much. Uh, just coming in. Hello, 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 everyone. Coming from CNN, Trump administration weighs sending migrants to Libya and Rwanda, sources say. The Trump administration, y'all do realize all of this costs money. He's not able to send people these places for free. Like, not at all. The Trump administration has discussed with Libya and Rwanda the possibility of sending migrants who have criminal records and are in the United States to those two countries, according to multiple sources familiar with the talks. Now, if this was just about, before y'all come in, like, well, he said he's getting rid of the criminals, then why not send them back to their countries of origin? Why not let them go through due process and send them back to their countries of origin? Because if you allow them to go through a due process, you will have concrete evidence, court documents that are public record saying, hey, we were right this whole time. All of these miscreants are coming here, and this is why our country is in disarray. But they're not doing that. Also, why not send them back to their countries of origin? Because you could do that for free. These people will come and get them. Okay, let's not forget Venezuela said, hey, don't put our people on military planes. We'll come get them if you need. Several countries have said that. It's not about that. I need y'all to look into, I think y'all need to remember where concentration camps are. I need you all to remember where the vast majority of concentration camps are. And I need you all to remember what was separated from these people before they were separated from Germany. And of course, these other countries are open to it because they're being paid to be open to it. And this is like the ultimate form of projection. What do I mean by that? What do I mean? I know that you have been repetitively sold the lie that the pilgrims and the settlers, they came over here. They were being treated so poorly across the pond that they just had to come here in order to no, they were not good people. They were tyrannical individuals that were weaponizing tyrannical versions of their portion of the umbrella of Protestant Christianity. Keep in mind, these are people who had the idea of looking at fellow human beings as less than livestock and buying and selling them like they were trading cars. And they did this because they decided to flee to a place that they did not scope out, scout out, didn't get permission to be here, didn't learn anything about, and they could not keep themselves alive to be here. This is why they're like, oh, well, these people are coming over here to take things away, because that's what their ancestors did. And that is what they do every single fucking day. Once again, when people say every projection is a confession, they're not talking about things that are just now starting to happen 2 days ago. And the things that you're finding out about 2 days ago have been happening since this land started being drenched in blood. The proposals mark a dramatic escalation in the administration's push to deter people journeying to the United States and remove some of those already here to countries thousands of miles away, some of which have checkered past. President Donald Trump signed an executive order in January directing top officials to facilitate international cooperation and agreements to send asylum seekers. Now, I know, there's a bunch of y'all just waiting to get into the comments and say, well, they could start with the Trump family. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, I need y'all to pay attention to history. Okay. We are repeating history. We are trapped in this Groundhog's Day. Septum piercings restrict blood flow to the brain. Wow. Way to let people know that you're a fucking idiot all over the internet. Do better. Well, we can hope that one day you can try to do better. Um, but when we say that we're stuck in a Groundhog Day of history, we are. I think you all don't pay attention enough, or you have forgotten that the failed mustached artiste convinced people of a eugenic standard that he did not fit, that he did not fulfill. So what makes you think that that's not what's occurring when we have a 34-time convicted felon talking about ridding the country of criminals? And he keeps harping on sexual offenses. If you really pay attention to what Trump has been saying recently, when we say history will repeat and is consistently repeating, this is what we mean. So y'all can stop pointing out members of the Trump family that used anchor babies for their citizenship, that without birthright citizenship they wouldn't be here, without money and privilege to get Einstein visas, and they wouldn't be here. We know this. That's not the crux of the issue. The crux of the issue is that the longer you try to deny history, the more it's going to keep knocking on your door. And each time it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Because Mustache Man had Henry Ford to learn from. Trump has Elon Musk to pat him on the back, Stephen Miller to pat him on the back. And I'm not saying learn from, because they all know the same rhetoric, they all know the same shit. Tom Homan to pat him on the back. So keep that in mind. Also, those on the TikTok chat, subscriptions are on, and beginning bright early next week, there will be exclusive subscriber content. There will be basically a mini task class available to those that subscribe on TikTok. And whether you're on TikTok or on YouTube, be sure that you actually do the paid subscription on Substack, because there's a lot of additional great information over there, more in depth history videos, more in depth history factoids, all of that good stuff. So, and before you go, why are you charging for it? Because this shit ain't cheap. And the time and energy to put this stuff together, it costs. But I keep everything $10 or less, so you'll be fine, okay? You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Coming from Fox 56, Trump executive order requires truck drivers to speak English. Now, somebody's going to point out, well, he already signed an executive order making English the national language of the United States. We have been a country after colonization for how long? And yeah, mom needs her coins too. For how long? And we haven't had an official language, because I think you all need to go back and remember what is on the Statue of Liberty. You also need to remember that the chains of the Statue of Liberty were moved from its original placement and now are consistently hidden from the general public. If you are not aware that the chains exist, you will not request to see the portion of the Statue of Liberty that contains the chains. So you can't do that and then expect this. But you have natural born, bred, raised, and sustained United States citizens that cannot pass basic English tests. Y'all do realize, as much as you want to criticize immigrants, immigrants have to learn more about this country than you were taught. See, the ones that you try to oppress the most are the ones that have to learn you the most in order to survive. Let me repeat that for you. The ones that you try to oppress the most have to learn the most about you in order to survive. They have to get to know the terrain, the country, and you better than you ever knew any of that in order to survive. Brought to you by a Black woman. So y'all keep thinking that Trump is sticking it to the illegals. Oh, who doesn't speak English? People, plenty of people speak English. And it's actually a greater sign of intelligence to be multilingual, flaming donut. And why do you need to be in the United States? I just said if you would have cleaned out your ears and let the smarticle particles that you may or may not have work betwixt your ears and behind your eyes, um, there are people within the United States that couldn't pass an English test. And you can speak any language, doesn't mean that you speak it correctly. Clearly, you fall into that secondary category. But let's go. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Monday that requires commercial truck drivers in the United States to be proficient in English. The text of the order acknowledges the essential role that truck drivers play in the U.S. economy and the livelihood of American people. So, you want them to increase their intelligence and their intellect and their education while removing the avenues for increased education. And I have seen a lot of these executive orders that are in very poor non marketplace English. Oh, thanks, Eager, for getting a subscription. Every day, truckers perform the demanding and dangerous work of transporting the nation's goods to businesses, customers, and communities safely, reliably, and efficiently, the order said. Now, I don't know what the fuck that has to do with English because it's not the truck drivers themselves that are negotiating the contracts for the goods that are being moved back and forth. But I can tell you, each truck driver knows any and everything safety wise about their cargo and their trucks. Where is it that most people speak English outside of the UK? Because I'm pretty sure you don't know how many languages are spoken in the United States. You probably think maybe a handful, a dozen. No, quite a few hundred. Let me repeat, quite a few hundred. You think that most people speak English in the United States most of the time because you look at it as the pejorative language. It is the language for legal proceedings, but how often are you going through a legal proceeding? And me pointing out the constitutionality of we never having a national language because we have marketed ourselves as a melting pot for everyone to come and shine bright like a diamond with their individual cultures, individual languages, etc., especially since people were stolen with a multitude of languages spoken. Who are we to try to force people to assimilate into something that isn't even done properly within the confines of these borders? Why should you have to speak English and no other language if hundreds of languages are spoken within the confines of these borders and everybody has to do some type of customer service work? So when you're speaking to other people, whether other businesses, because most of our business is international, or customers, you need to be able to understand and comprehend their languages as well. So what is this English is the only way? Because everybody else around the globe doesn't just speak English. Who brought up slavery to prove a point? Right now in the United States today, hundreds of different languages are spoken. Are you okay? Now, you have local truck drivers, you have coast to coast truck drivers, you have regional truck drivers. Truck drivers talk to who's at the businesses. If hundreds of languages are spoken, the truck drivers need to be able to communicate with who's loading them and who's unloading them. They need to be able to verify that they're picking up the correct things. If there are hundreds of different languages, because you could be delivering or picking up from a reservation, you could be loading or picking up from Little Italy, Little China, multitude of things. If you're in Hawaii, you could be talking to people who speak a multitude of different languages. Samoan people exist. So, yeah, deciding everybody should speak one language when the people who speak that one language don't even speak it properly does what? No, Native American individuals have their individual languages from their individual tribes. Why are you so insistent on showing how dilapidated you are behind the eyes? I didn't say anything about the Queen's English. I said no one in the United States speaks English or uses it properly, and we don't. Proper English within the United States is considered marketplace English. We don't. We have a multitude of dialects of English floating about this country. That's why sometimes it's hard for somebody in Chicago to speak to somebody in Mobile, Alabama. You know, you could have used a lot fewer words just to say that you're stupid. Do y'all think I'm supposed to be nice because I'm a girl? Is that what y'all think? Huh. You shouldn't think that. You you shouldn't think that. Yeah, I think he's bye-bye now, Jay. Or she. I really wasn't paying any attention to the gender of them. You know, every troll looks the same to me. Molded. So here we go. Continuing on from yay, Jay. Continue on with the article. Trump designated English as the country's official language in an executive order in March. In his order on Monday, the president said proficiency in English should be non-negotiable for professional drivers. Here's the thing, like I was saying before, I've read a lot of these executive orders. The English is atrocious. Whoever's writing these executive orders, they don't have a good grasp on the English language, like at all. Okay, Trump does not have a good grasp of the English language. This is a man who literally, in a national interview, said he invented the word groceries, then turned around and said the groceries is an old word that nobody uses anymore. But keep in mind, this is a country established by undocumented illegal immigrants whose legacies, their descendants like to brag about the fact that they didn't speak English when they came here, didn't speak English for decades after that. Some of them didn't speak English even when they were entering the grave and had a couple dollars in their pockets. Okay, keep that in mind. Our current Secretary of State is one of those people. Okay. Let's continue. They should be able to read and understand traffic signs, communicate with traffic safety, border patrol, agricultural checkpoints, and cargo weight limit station officers, the order said. Drivers need to provide feedback to their employers and customers and receive related directions in English. This is what happens when people don't learn about jobs and careers and just make assumptions. For so long, people have assumed that truck drivers are broke and that truck drivers are stupid. I don't know if you've ever even just stepped into a truck driving school or even looked at their websites. It's no joke. This is not stupid. So they already do these things, they already know how to interpret it. And let us not forget, the United States is not brimming with intellect, okay? We're not overflowing with geniuses. We aren't. We do everything to ensure that's not gonna fucking happen. Sorry, not sorry to be the one to fucking break it to you. Okay, we turn everything into a fucking picture. You have 2-year olds who can't even read or recognize their name yet, but they know what a stop sign is because of how it looks. You go to restaurants, they put pictures by everything, even on the registers now. You don't have to read fucking English to do shit. But you're going to tell me these folks that understand the breakdown of per diems can break down taxes and tax codes while sipping coffee and chomping on the donut better than most tax professionals can't do that? These people who are better logistics professionals than people who have been in school for eons can't do that. If you think I'm exaggerating, talk to a truck driver. Ask them any of these things. Ask them when it's the most dangerous for them to drive. They'll be able to tell you, and they'll be able to tell you by cargo type, by portion of the United States, by time of day, season, all of these things. Flamin' Donut, do you just want attention? Like, you're the only one commenting on the YouTube chat. Like, do you just want attention or what? Because either way you slice it, you're giving me the view and you're engaging. It's a win-win for me. And see, the whole executive order making English the national language when it was already the pejorative language for legalities, that's all you need. Like, every country has that, where they're like, okay, what language will we use in a court of law so everybody can be on one accord? So all the documents can line up and we don't necessarily need interpreters for everything. We don't have to have 50 million copies of it. Every country does that. And a lot of times y'all assume that a lot of countries have a national language and they don't. They just don't care. They just don't care. But I brought up that article because I saw multiple videos yesterday. And this is why I say there were homegrown people who you're just speaking. Well, don't. You're not good at it. There are people who have only lived in the United States. Their parents have only lived in the United States. They only know one language. They don't even listen or watch anything in any other language. That they're shitting bricks because they know that they're not going to be able to pass these tests. That's the thing. The United States has bought into its own propaganda so much that the United States has forgotten how fucking stupid it is. And that it keeps getting dumber with each generation. Ooh, yeah, J. Anthony Brown, I forgot that he said that. Good point, Jay. Yes. Now, real quick side note, in case you missed last week when I said it, the Wednesday night task club, the book club that's on Zoom, we're still on hiatus until June because there are people whose children are getting through prom season, spring break, and graduations, and they weren't going to be able to make it. So I said I'll put a pin in it since there's so many people, and we'll get back to it in June. But everything else, the book club that's live on TikTok will still keep going on, and everything else. Now, to lighten things up, because Lindsey Graham always brings me a chuckle, because Lindsey, coming from Mediaite, Pope and Change, Lindsey Graham asks Catholics to keep an open mind about making Trump pontiff. Has many upsides. Every day, every day, every day, I got to fight for my life to stay in good standings in regards to CGVs and get through the pearly gates one day. I was going to read this last night on the podcast, but I couldn't keep it together. I was going to do a standalone video with this. I could not keep it together in between earlier classes today. So we're going to get through this. We're going to. I'm finding it. I'm finding it. I'm finding it. Whew. Senator Lindsey Graham Republican out of South Carolina, asked Catholics and the Papal Conclave to keep an open mind about the possibility of President Donald Trump becoming the next pope on Tuesday after Trump jokingly said he would like to be pope following Pope Francis's death. First of all, stop saying this motherfucker is joking. We know that every time Trump tries to put a laugh behind it, he's serious. He is like that creepy dude at the bar. He is like that creepy dude in high school that always finds his way at your cafeteria table. He is like that creepy uncle that don't nobody ever invite anywhere, but he keep popping up and always want to sit at the kids' table. Mm-hmm. 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 And the fact that you have people who used to criticize Trump that are now guzzling his half a tic tac undercarriage like it is the greatest thing ever. Like that's going like his jizz is gonna give you eternal life. Um, like he got Twilight Dong. Uh, mm, like the rest of the world don't give a damn about Trump. And side note, for those of y'all that are like, oh, they're making such a big deal about the blue suit, there were other people that didn't have black. Okay, you know what? Comprehension is at an all-time low. It is at an all-time low. World leaders specifically were asked to wear black. Zelensky is in the midst of a fucking war and was still able to come head to toe in black. Trump not only wore blue, he wore the lightest shade of blue that you could find. Trump is married to a Catholic woman. And we know Melania told him, Donald, don't wear that. And he still did it. And it wasn't just that he wore the blue suit. He sat there like a fucking toddler, popping, uh, we'll say treats and snacks. I don't know what the fuck he had, and moving around like he had ants up his booty hole. And Trump really, he doesn't understand the scope of anything. He just knows, oh, people respect this person. Oh, they stand up for this person. Oh, this person gets these perks. And that's what he wants. He is the ultimate envious motherfucker. Yeah, he does. He does. And he thinks, I get to live next to the nunnery. I'll have my pick. They can't run from me. No, they can whoop your ass and poison you. They'll whoop your ass and hide the Bible for real. Oh, okay. Woo, Rocco. Okay. After reporter asked Trump who he would like to see as the next pope, the president joked, I'd like to be the pope. That would be my number one choice. No, I don't know. I have no preference because he has no idea who's up for anything. Okay. Probably didn't even know the first name of the pope that just kicked the bucket. Okay. He probably didn't know that his name was Francis. He just knew that Francis didn't like him. He just knew that the current pope didn't like him. He's like, oh, I'd like to be the pope, as if they're just going out picking random people up off the street. Like, hey, you the pope. You the new pope. Come with us. Come on with us. You the new pope. We dress you up nice. We make you smell good. We put the thing on you. You'll be the pope. Bibbidi boppity boop, the pope. No, that's not how. And think about it. Y'all saying that they're making a big deal about how Trump was. He was asked a serious question, and he said, I would like to be the pope. This is our current representation. This is like you thinking that you got cool parents, and then you get to the age and you start getting around people and you start doing stuff and you realize you got the lamest parents on the block. Yeah, yeah. And all the maggots in there calling him daddy. Yo, daddy getting beat up every day at lunch. I think you might want to stop. You might want to start having him drop you off 2 blocks from the school. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Just might wanna. Reacting to Trump's remarks, Graham suggested that a Pope Trump. Okay, I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna get it together. I promise. Hold on. Wait a minute. Where's my water? Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. 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 Reacting to Trump's remarks, Graham suggested that a Pope Trump could have many upsides. I was gonna make a sexual joke, but then I remembered how Stormy Daniels and the other two ladies described his undercarriage, so he can't even do some whoopsie doodle upside down sexual stuff. So, what are the upsides? Uppers? He's gonna bring uppers to the Vatican because I'm pretty sure they already got a doctor for that. I'm pretty sure they got somebody to call for that. I'm pretty sure, not 100% sure, but pretty sure that they already got somebody for that. Is the upside like during his ceremony he would get a first class ticket to go speak to Jesus one on one, face to face in the middle room? Because I don't even think for his conversation that Jesus would let him to the upper room, even for 5 minutes. But that's just my thing. I'm not quite sure. But I mean, if it can get him away from the presidency, that'd be fine. Like, make him Pope and then send JD Vance to go shake his hand. Okay. I gotta stop. I'm about to fall over. I mean, people keep saying it's not JD Vance's fault. Let's test the theory. Make Trump the Pope. Then send JD to go shake his hand. I mean, I like a good experiment. It's for educational purposes. Yes, we are. We are so bad. Okay. I was excited to hear that President Trump is open to the idea of being. See, this is why I said I couldn't make a video. The video would be like 2 hours long because I'm fighting for my life to get through this. I was excited to hear that President Trump is open to the idea of being the next pope, he wrote. This would truly be a dark This would truly be a dark horse candidate. But I would ask the papal conclave and Catholic faithful to keep an open mind about this possibility. Okay. I am not Catholic, okay? I have studied Catholicism. I have been around convents, spoken to nuns who have lived in convents, spoken to priests, all those type of things. So I try not to speak on Catholicism too much unless it is integral to something in history. With that being said, if you want to have an understanding of the conclave, watch the movie Conclave. It is the closest you'll get to what goes on. Now, there are some things that are very secretive, very gate kept, which I understand that unless you see it, you ain't gonna know about it. I get that. But once again, they are not just flipping through. Okay, they don't have a book of life like Jesus. Okay, they're not gonna be like, you know what? We already had one from the Americas. Well, that was South America. What about North America? Okay, who's been doing pretty good but really hasn't gotten any accolades? Terry from Idaho. Yeah. Put Terry from Idaho on the list. And then there's Nora from Nova Scotia. And don't forget Trump. Now we'll vote between those three. No, that's not how that goes. That's not how it goes. They're not picking a 34-time convicted philandering sexual assaulter who has caused the death of multiple children in his first 100 days of office. Now, we know about the cancer patient that he sent out of the country, but I think everybody is missing the AIDS patient that when USAID was pulled out of multiple countries and funding cut, specifically the program that his wife was most involved in, not to mention he cut the 2 programs specifically for women that his daughter created. But that child lost their caregiver and access to their medication. And at 9 years old, their life was cut out. I don't think that now, granted, this is the same Catholic Church that was cool with Mother Teresa, but they weren't trying to make her ass the Pope. So. And we already got one person who dropped out of the conclave. It was like, get somebody else to do it. But not Lindsey. Lindsey. You need to stay on your knees taking back shots, not trying to talk about the order of operations for the Lord. Okay? You're supposed to be saying, oh Lord, sweet Jesus, oh God. That's it. That is the extent of your religious experience. Okay, I'm gonna get it together. Graham continued. The first Pope U.S. president combination has many upsides. Watching for white smoke. There's no way you can be president and Pope at the same time. You got to step down. You can't keep it up. You can't do both. First of all, he can't even keep up with the duties of the presidency. Could you imagine a Pope that's always golfing and then him trying to invoice the Vatican for his golf clubs, and then him trying to create a private golf club in Vatican City? Like that's probably why Trump wants to be the Pope, because he thinks that he's going to be able to monetize that as well. This it tickles me about as much as folks over on Blue Sky. Like, how do we get monetized over here? How do we monetize this? Bitch, you don't. You don't. This is for the people who like to share ideas and fraternize with people online and kiki and everything else. Everything ain't about a buck. I was excited to hear that President Trump is open to the idea of being the next pope. I don't know what's worse. Lindy. Woo, the Freudian slip there. Lindsey Graham taking this so seriously and running with it, like he's pulling the Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, look at me, Trump, I'm your biggest cheerleader. Or Trump really believing, and it wasn't even Photoshop, it was just typed on top of the photo, like to show this is what this is, kind of like a primary school worksheet, that he really thought Kilmar Abrega Garcia had MS-13 written on his. I don't know which one is worse. I know they both tickle me. And speaking of which, if you want to see the extended version of that interview, it is posted to YouTube and to my Substack. Because old Trumpy boy is still having a hissy fit about it, of course. I was excited to hear that President Trump is open to the idea of being the next pope. This would truly be a dark horse candidate, but I would ask the Papal Conclave and the Catholic faithful to keep an open mind about this possibility. Trump endorsed Graham for re-election in March, calling him a wonderful friend and promising supporters that the senator would not let them down. Here's the thing. Lindsey Graham has these moments, just like now, where he is just like, can't get enough of Trump, okay? Can't get enough of Trump, okay? He willing to bust it down anywhere, anyway for Trump, okay? He is Trump's bussy baby anytime. And then there's another time that he's like, what's love got to do with that, hoe? I'm not eating the cake. What the fuck is you doing? Like that? Like sometimes he the bussy baby. Sometimes he married with children. Sometimes he Peggy Bundy. Like, we don't know which Lindsey Graham we getting, but in this article, we definitely getting. I got the pedal to the floor, man. You know that's my busted baby. Everybody know that Lindsay's Trump's busted baby. Hey, Shaquille. Lindsay has been a wonderful friend to me and has always been there when I needed him. I bet. I bet. In a very Cinnabon icing way of need. I can't. I can't. Wrote Trump. Senator Lindsey Graham has my complete and total endorsement for reelection. He will not let you down. President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump attended Pope Francis's funeral last week after the pontiff passed away at the age of 88. Trump, I feel like you should go spend some more time with Francis. I think you should go and let Francis mentor you. Reacting on Truth Social to the news of Pope Francis's death, Trump wrote, "Rest in peace, Pope Francis. May God bless him and all who loved him." Trump, I think he was supposed to be in that all you loved. The post-Pope, the post-Pope and change, uh, Lindsay, you, I can't. Oh, I can't. Hold on. And I do believe some more updates came in. Oops. Okay. Let's see. Coming from Law and Crime, denied. Appeals court cites Supreme Court in refusing to let Trump resume deportations under Alien Enemies Act. Now, before we get into this article, because we talked earlier in this broadcast, um, about Trump's 100-day rally, where he called it the 100 Days of Greatness. I don't think he understands adjectives very well because he surely does not know how to use them, but he wants to force people to properly learn how to use English when he doesn't know it properly. Um, but he's always talking to people and trying to convince people who have no sway in anything. Like trying to convince people about judges, they're not judges. They can't censure a judge. But this is how we end up with judges being threatened and doxxed and swatted and all of these things. He can't even write his own name in English because that little heartbeat uh signature that he gives. And you can tell he practiced just those squiggly lines. And before somebody comes to me, you're just being mean to Trump. Write your signature. Take from now until Monday, randomly. You can do it on the same piece of paper once a day. Sign your name. On Monday, go back and look. You can tell it's your signature, but it's not going to be identical every single time. But let's go. A federal appeals court in Colorado has rejected an emergency request from the Trump administration seeking to stay a lower court ruling temporarily blocking the federal government from using an 18th century wartime authority to fast track the removal of Venezuelan migrants with limited notice and minimal, if any, due process. A three-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit on Tuesday kept in place a temporary restraining order, a TRO, issued on April 22nd by U.S. District Judge Charlotte N. Sweeney, barring deportations in Colorado under the Alien Enemy Act, the AEA. Now, the whole due process thing was brought up in the tumultuous Oval Office interview. Like I said, I have it posted to Substack and YouTube if you want to take a look at the more extended version of the interview. And Trump, he doesn't understand what due process is because he said, well, they're going to get a process. Yeah, not getting processed. to be kicked out the country. Like, ugh. In a two-page order, the panel reasoned that the administration was not entitled to a stay of the TRO because it did not show that leaving the order in place was likely to cause the government to suffer irreparable harm. Mm, okay. Whew. All right. Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. The government has not made such a showing in this case, the panel wrote in the brief two-page opinion. All members of the class are in federal custody, and given the important unresolved issues under the Aliens Enemy Act and the ruling of the United States Supreme Court that no one in that proceeding to be removed under the AEA until further order of the court, there is no realistic possibility that the government could remove any member of the class from this country before final expiration of the TRO on May 6, 2025. Whew. I've been Today's not the best day for heartburn. Got a little heartburn and acid reflux going all at the same time. Rocco is good. I'm having issues. I'll fall off the bed. Oh my goodness. Accordingly, the emergency motion for a stay is denied. The order concluded. Yeah, pretty much. A lot of it. Now, for those that are screaming, oh, this is so, the court should just let it happen. The court should just let it happen. I need y'all to pay attention to one, Homan, more so than Trump. Homan and Bondi and Emil Bobby are testing the waters to see what they can get away with. The fact that they're also fighting birthright citizenship, um, and so many other things, their ultimate goal has nothing to do with immigrants. It has nothing to do with migrant workers. I think people also fail to realize the executive order allowing them to essentially make lists according to what you post on social media. Now they ain't looking at my black ass. They don't care. Plus, I'm black. Okay, I'm melanated. They shadow banning the fuck out of me every 2 to 3 business hours. They've also brought up the fact that they do not like college educated white women the most, and then underneath that, college educated men that aren't willing to lie. You're sitting there going, yeah, I'm so happy that they're getting rid of these people, baby. The ultimate goal is for them to get rid of you. And they don't want to get rid of you and put you in another country for you to walk around and roam around and figure out a loophole, a gray area to come back into this country. They're going to put you up underneath some of the worst prisons on the planet. So you're under the mindset that this administration and racists are really truly out to get the melanated. Yeah, for shits and giggles, for show, to see what you're on board with and who's gonna lie and who's gonna cover for stuff. They'll get rid of a few of us, but they know, unlike what you're willing to admit, they need us. They need someone to steal from in order to be able to continue to commodify and monetize things. Number one. Two, they need people to do the actual work because they don't want to put the hard work in. And three, they want to eliminate competition. They don't see us as competition. I think some of y'all forget how the 1% became the 1%. I think some of y'all didn't pay attention to the totality of how generational wealth was built, especially in the United States. Yeah, there, and this is why I don't like undocumented. There are people who are residents of the United States and not necessarily citizens, whether temporary residents or not, because the fact that we know how many are here, where they're at, and how much they pay in taxes, they're documented. There's documentation on them. Remember, they were bitching because there was an app where they could use to track people in the country while they were waiting to get word on their status. We created the rule that, hey, you want asylum, refugee status, emergency citizenship, you got to be on US soil. If you don't want all these people showing up at the border, change the fucking rules. I'm sure these people would love to write it in, phone it in, email it in, and not have to travel all the way here for uncertainty. And then to be treated like shit as they're doing everything the proper way, while the people who are telling them to do it the proper way are lying to everybody else about what the proper way is. And quite honestly, if you're going to tax these people from the rooter to the tutor, that tax money, the fact that they're paying into taxes, should be paying for their citizenship. Hello? Because they're not getting Social Security benefits. FICA is fucking the shit out of them. Citizenship should it be at least the dinner that they get. I'm just saying. But I'm going to stick a pin in this one. Make sure you check out the links in my bio. If you have not subscribed here, make sure you subscribe here. Like I said, starting fresh and early on Monday, there will be mini history classes that will be available to subscribers only. Also, make sure you subscribe over on Substack. There's enhanced Black history factoids, enhanced journal prompts, more in-depth history videos and breakdowns, etc., over there. So make sure you check that out. And if you're not following with the notifications on over on YouTube, what are you doing? What are you doing? And let us not forget, y'all asked me for naughty stories. I put a naughty story up there. It's called Taz After Dark. Link is in the bio. Go read it. Let me know what you think before we continue on with more. Okay. Y'all be asking me for stuff and I deliver. If you ordered a hoodie or a t-shirt recently, I got word today, I got confirmation that one of the suppliers is all backed up because you can imagine why. So there's going to be a delay. My apologies. That's why I have not put out any new ads, because I need to get more times. Usually people were getting stuff within like 2 to 3 weeks. Now it's taking a little bit longer. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. I will see y'all back here at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Be good, or as good as possible. You know.